We're hardly ever together, so when we get together, we like to try to piece one of these together for you guys so you can see what we're up to, what we're talking about, and where we're headed. So
where are we at today?
Castroville, Texas. It's about 30-40 minutes west of San Antonio. It was a little corn town, farm town, just a couple years ago, and now it's getting really, really nice. You get some major car dealerships, Walmart. I mean, you have a lot of things that, a very small town wouldn't have. So this town is blossoming nicely. Neighborhoods are going up, a bunch of beautiful farms out here, people taking care of the land. It's not over-industrialized. You don't have neighborhoods going up everywhere, destroying farms. So it's a perfect balance of what happens when a small town merges with a big town. So this is Castroville right outside San Antonio, Texas.
One thing I like about this property is we talked to the seller. We got to get the contract over the weekend when I was here, which I hardly ever do that when I'm working virtually because I'm from California. But it's kind of cool getting to talk to the seller. We saw the Airbnb. We're getting a house with this property, so free real estate. You can't get free houses anywhere other niche that I know of. So it's kind of cool getting free real estate, free houses. Talk to the seller. This will be a good deal whenever we get it. Whenever it's completed, hopefully we'll do another record-breaking time on this one, and knock this deal out the park.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the most beautiful properties we're working on right now. So I really like this area. So it really makes me happy to be in this business because I love flipping houses. I've been in construction since I was a kid. I was 12 years old. So I've done a lot of remodeling in my day. I mean, I probably remodeled more than 100 homes. And I really love it. Custom homes, lots of big houses, Dominion, a lot of the upper scale areas here in San Antonio. And I've been in a lot of nice homes. I've done a lot of nice custom work inside of homes myself. So I love the business, not really knocking it. But when I'm out here and surrounded by, 2,500 acres, 1,000 acres, 100 acres, it just makes you see a part of Texas that that normal people don't get to see. It's the hustle and bustle of the city. It's being in the office. It's heading straight home, kids to bed, boom, do it all again the next day. But being out here in the country, there's farmers out here, ranchers, there's a little bit slower paced life, but people have bigger squares of property,
Yep.
And I live in a pretty nice neighborhood, but you still only get a third of an acre, maybe, quarter acre. So if you're out here in the country, it's everybody has 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 acres. So if you got into a situation where you needed to borrow some money, you could just borrow against your 1,000 acres, right? So it's not very big. It's not a very big, significant piece of your wealth or of your land, and that's where they live. So these people are well connected. They're wealthy, awesome, genuine people, God-fearing. They're just really, really a beautiful area to be in, surrounded by amazing people out here in the country, and nobody's even paying attention to it. It's impossible to get shiny object syndrome because there is no object. You're just driving by and you see the hundreds of acres, thousands of acres, and it just looks majestic. You're this is amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely cool out here, man. Even right now we're driving, and there's just cornfields and random fields. A few businesses pop up here and there, but it's just land. Lots of it, plenty of it. I think the topic of this call was defending Texas U.S. land, and defending that from outside entities. There's a lot of people out here trying to buy U.S. property. And it's not to say the immigrants or whatever. Most of our buyers are immigrants, but it's the money, outside money, that's trying to buy up all the property, which I think is a lot of people in the United States, they can't afford acres. It's the American dream to buy and live in your own space, but there's outside money from foreign entities coming out here and buying acres up in droves. So when me and Anthony have been talking about this for a long time, is that a lot of what we do has an internal battle. There's a bigger battle than just making money. I think a lot of people, they just chase the money and chase the dollars, but there's a bigger battle happening over U.S. land and over Texas land. That's what we really want to talk about today.
Yeah, man. So it's something we think about all the time. I've been in marketing for about 15 years, maybe longer now. I just keep saying 15 years for the next 10 years. And I really love it. I have a passion for it, and I watched it for a very, very long time. And I think marketing behaves like an organism. And then you start to watch what any marketing environment could become, right? So you see them morph into different things. So you'll see a small town get over-industrialized, and then it becomes neighborhoods, or it becomes factories, or whatever that developer had in mind for that area. So I think by controlling the land, you're controlling certain markets, the path of growth in certain cities. We operate right at the cutting edge of growth and beyond, right? Because we know that's where the city's heading next. But also there's also more rural areas where they're not ready, they're not primed for a lot longer time. And so there's a lot of buy and holding, strategy in land, because people are buying land anticipating what's going to happen 10 or 20 years from now, or maybe 50 years from now. And I think that's an interesting legacy play, to be able to like hand off to the next generation your life's work, right? And now somebody else in the future is going to inherit a 50 or 75 years worth of chess moves that you made in your lifetime. And I think that's fascinating. So if you think in terms of that scale, there's capital that's moving in U.S. land, at the rate of $200 million, $300 million. And once I learned that, I thought, who are the players, right? Who are the players in this game? So ever since I've learned that years ago, it always makes me think about like, well, this is just a giant chessboard then, right? The United States and the globe for that matter is a giant chessboard. And if you don't know that you're playing a game against all those other players out there, I'm going to be willing to bet that you're probably losing, right? Because you don't even know there's a game in the first place, but your empty chair at the table, it has you in a losing position. So that's why it's something that Daniel and myself are very passionate about. It's like, yeah, of course we need the money. We want the money. We want to be successful in our businesses and be able to bless the people around us and do some amazing things before we die. But there's a bigger game at play here. And again, I think it has to do with national security. It has to do with legacy. It has to do with taking good care of the environment. Let's say a foreign company, just somebody who doesn't love the United States as much as we do, comes in here and throws up 1 million houses in an area over the last aquifer that's going to feed, some city or a good portion of some city, and it's not in our best interest, but some foreign dollar that's profit oriented first is not going to care what happens to that local environment. So I think it's so people like us, it's up to us to be able to be those forces that push back, gently push back, and then forcefully if it comes to that. But if we can just play smart chess, make smart moves, and defend the land how we see fit, to protect not only the local environment, but the local community and the growth and also future generations, then it's time for us to stop pretending that the game is not happening. At least once you become aware of it, now you can choose to sit out, and cower down and not do anything about it, or you can just get in the game. And that's what Daniel and myself are pushing everybody to do every single day, is just get in the game.
So we're definitely a little fish in a small pond, but I'll give you guys a real life example. So I don't watch the news or anything, but I saw something online about how Saudi Arabia had bought farmland to build, to grow alfalfa. So alfalfa is a very water heavy driven crop. And the Saudi Arabian company bought the land to build alfalfa to the point where they're drawing up all the water from the aquifer, where now other properties that used to have plenty of water are now suffering because they're pulling so much water draw from that property itself and from that area. I told Anthony about that, and it's like they're literally stealing our water because they have a valuable resources, and it's a valuable resource out there as far as alfalfa goes. So it might be a cheap resource out here because it's plentiful, but out over there, as soon as they grow it and ship it back, they're essentially stealing our water through the purpose of a crop of alfalfa.
So let's think about that for a second, right? Let's say on the chessboard, on this game that we're playing on the game board, there's valuable resources scattered throughout the game board, right? They've been scattered there for millions, whatever eons, right, since Jesus Christ walked the earth. And there's these lakes and puddles and streams and creeks and dams and rivers. Somebody's going to own all that, right? I might one day, I was a kid growing up, he's saying, oh, the rivers and the lakes, oh, the government owns those. Yeah, but the government doesn't own anything. They own some national parks, like some sizable lakes or rivers, but a lot of that is privately held. So you have developers out there that are building neighborhoods and your big three, right, that are throwing up hundreds of houses all over the country, but they're not buying what we're buying. They're heading in the opposite direction, right? They're headed after development land. It's nice and flat. It has good drainage and access to water. That's what they're looking at, so they can water these houses. And us, in our mind, we're looking at a lot of like floodland and bottomland and stuff like that, where those resources run in abundance. So I think the direction that we're headed in, the niche that we're playing in, long term, is going to prove to be the best niche to have been in since day one.
This show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings and, of course, to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at HiveMindCRM.io.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things like that, but it really opens your eyes to other possibilities, and this is where like it's different level, like the joke, different levels to this. It's literally a different level that like we didn't even see at first when we got into the land space. It's just one of those things that as we've been in it longer and longer, we're seeing different opportunity to the point where the Castroville property we just came from, they're doing hay. They have a hay lease on it, and they're taking hay from that, and that produces a certain amount of bales of hay per year as long as it's not a drought. And this is where like drought really affects the economy in a lot of different ways that I didn't even notice as well. Like I learned a lot about hay bales and price per bale and how many acres you can take, and if it's a rainy season, you're gonna get a lot more hay. Like I learned a lot just talking to the seller. But this is information that's been passed down to all these ranchers, like generation to generation. They just know. So like there's other ways to profit off the land than just building on it, and that's the only way developers look at it. So, and this is like the ranchers know multiple ways to do it, and we're learning more and more about that as we progress down this rabbit hole of large farm and ranch.
Okay, yeah, so here, let me blow your mind real quick. So you got the one you talked about, foreign company comes in, buys up all the water, right? Effectively is what they're doing, is buying up all the water in that area, so much so that it's straining people's homes, right? And then they have this valuable resource they can ship back home and sell for any price they want, because obviously the water doesn't run in abundance over there, right? So they're stealing the water, marking up the property. So it's like they're benefiting off of this one particular strategy. And again, that's where an organism comes in and doesn't care about the remainder of the organism, something that's going to lead to something detrimental. I went and looked at a 2,500 acre tract this past weekend with Michael Suarez and Krista. Shout out to them. They're going to freaking destroy it. We have this broker who's telling us that he knows of another property over by Lubbock that's $80 million, and the guy's doing like cotton and I don't know what else over there. But the guy's willing to sell it for $80 million. You have a company coming in to pick it up with $80 million in cash. So that tells me that there's some serious capital out there that's coming in the U.S. land at a very high rate. So it just makes me wonder, for one, where does that cash come from? Who are the players in the game? And if there is a game that big to be played, why aren't we playing? That's what I think about. It's like,
why aren't we playing in?
Yeah.
But this is the point where we
get in that game.
You definitely have to like have bigger thinking, and I think we progress and grown. And this is like the whole thing of us as investors, us personally, we've grown at every stage to the point we are now, and I hope we continue to grow. But a lot of other investors and business people, they just stay in that one spot and they can stay content, and they find a good niche and they think it's the best they can do. But stay curious, man. Stay curious out there. Keep learning, keep educating, keep delving down and learning and getting the information you need, because there's always another deeper level that you're not seeing. There's a deeper level that can be monetized. There's a deeper level that might pay more money. It's easier in some spaces, but there might be a deeper level that you might have to put up road signs like we did today.
Hey man, I'm down with breaking a sweat. I love it. Yeah, I'm moving somewhere. If I'm at the gym, then let's go put up some signs. I was digging holes, Andrew, myself, on that 1604 property. Yeah, I was out there digging holes. You know, I could have let Andrew do it. I don't even have to show up. Give me that shovel. Yeah, I want to get a little bit of action.
But I think it's that's one of those things where you gotta lead from the front. And like today, we're hammering some nails. We forgot the drill. We got screws, but we forgot the drill. So now we're hammering nails, putting up signs. I'm out of town driving, and I'm here putting up signs.
Stop on your road trip to go fix up a ranch real quick.
Yeah, or you're putting in work. So I think it takes a lot of effort to do big things, and this is where like you can't do it by yourself. You're just not gonna do it. There's so much work and effort and resources involved that you're just not gonna do it. It's too hard.
Yeah, definitely lots of moving parts. I would say, guys, get in the game as soon as you can, learn everything you can, and lock elbows with anybody. If it's not with us, lock elbows with somebody. Find somebody that you love and trust, and go get it.
Yeah.
There's a bigger game at play here. The game might not be available forever.
The game may not be available forever. Ooh, let's talk about that. That's a good point. The game may not be available here forever. I think the Texas game is going to be here for a very long time. I think if we focus just on Texas, then we'd be here for a long time. But this is a point where like there's a lot of talk right now about the debt ceiling in America and us not being able to us running out of money at the end of June or middle of June this year, as the government. This episode will probably come out right around that time. I don't know what's going to happen. This is still middle of May, but the government run out of money, and there's a lot of efforts going on to devalue the U.S. dollar now, especially the war in Ukraine, China, Iran, Saudi Arabia. They're all joining forces against the United States dollar. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You have to think about opportunity elsewhere, and this is where I told my wife this before too. Is this like there might come a point where we have to leave the U.S. Not that I want to happen and want to live it somewhere else. It's a realization that things may not be the same forever, and if you think that way, I think it's dumb thinking. But definitely be ready to adapt and change if needed, if need be, and it requires it.
Yeah, I'm thinking too, like, maybe the country doesn't collapse or go into turmoil, but even if, like, well, I guess other bigger players are coming in and buying everything, how long before it's no longer makes sense to compete with them. If they bought all the best properties and a radius around every major U.S. city, for 100 miles or 200 miles, how do you compete with that, right? So I feel like there's kind of a race to that. Is where if we can buy rings around every major U.S. city, then we dominate. We own now. We own the most valuable resources, and let's include the farms and ranches that serve those communities as well, because that's the backbone of the whole infrastructure. It's like if you go to H-E-B or you go to Walmart to get groceries, what do you do when there's no eggs on the shelf or no milk on the shelf? There's no cheese on the shelf. There's no beef on the shelf, no ham. When all that farming stops, everything stops. So we need, like I said, there's not a lot of time to move. I mean, even if it's a 10 or 20 or 30 year curve, there's no time to waste. It's time to move. Every
today is the best day to start working and making a difference and making a change, 100%. But one thing I really want to change too is like I think a lot of the U.S. land and real estate is all held by individuals. I think entities are becoming more powerful, getting back funds and all that stuff, but I think like even the stock market, there's like $3 trillion of managed capital by hedge fund managers that are managed into the stock market. They're not even self-managed. So I think there's a lot of same real estate. There's a lot of individual owners and individuals that own a lot of this asset and asset capital. And this is where like I think this is a big advantage about Al Nicoletti talks about the silver tsunami and the boomers retiring and passing away, and that next generation taking that control. I think there's about to wave to happen in every sector, including businesses, land, ranches. I mean, every ranch owner we talk to is mostly over in their 60s or 70s. Every single one.
Older, yeah.
Every single one. Have you talked to a ranch owner that's under 50?
Nope. One guy, I think it was in his 30s, but he owned something far North Texas that was like 2,000 an acre. It was a massive property, but that guy was an anomaly. Yeah, every single hundreds or if not thousands of people I've talked to, yeah, these are senior citizens.
They are senior citizens, man.
Yeah.
And even the agents that represent these sellers, they're all senior citizens too.
Yeah. Some of them old boys and old agents, they've been in the game forever, and they're really good guys. They know that land better than you ever thought you were going to, and they're sharp guys. They're razor sharp, and they're very wealthy.
No, that's the funny part. Like, the ranch game is all old, man. There's definitely a new wave, man, of opportunity for the land space as a whole, man. 100%. There's an opportunity if you're an investor, if you're an agent, if you're just dig down deep, and you're able to do some business for a long time.
Mhm.
Man, it's such a cool niche. Like I said, we probably passed 10,000 acres in the last 20 minutes since we've been on this call.
Yeah.
It's plenty of opportunity. There was a tweet the other day that said that every strip mall, because he's a strip mall person, is like every strip mall is owned by somebody that you passed. And then I took it to a point even further than that. Like every land that has a strip mall on it was owned by somebody before they put the strip mall on it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody monetized everything you see built at some point over and over again. Every time. And this is where like real estate changes hands all the time. We had a call today with a apartment broker. He sold apartment. He sold the apartment for the previous owner 15 years. The new owner came in, remodeled it for 2, and now it's changing hands again. He's ready to sell and exit. So think about this. Apartments change hands all the time. He thought it was an anomaly of that apartment owner before him holding it 15 years. Imagine land. These guys hold it forever. They're holding that thing forever. And it's just passed down, and then that next generation is the one that's wanting to sell it in most cases. I saw something yesterday that the Texas property taxes is forcing that next generation to sell because they can't even afford the taxes.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
They can't even afford the taxes. They can't even pass that ranch down because the taxes are insane here in Texas.
Unless they do something to alleviate that before they hand it off, but sometimes, yeah, it's not a planned exit.
So, plenty of opportunity here. Plenty of opportunity happening in the near future. There's a lot of land to be had. There's a lot of protection we do. And this is why we like selling to my Spanish speakers and investors. We're in there buying it and selling it to minorities, and they're the ones holding it. You know, it's not going back to, it's not going to outside entities. It's not going to someone we don't know, per se. You know, so there's a lot of defense going on, and hopefully you guys can help us with that.
Control the market, control the game, guys.
Control the market, control the game. Well, we appreciate y'all. We're having an event this year in San Antonio. Last week of September, first week of October. It's like the first weekend. I don't have the dates in front of me, but we'll put the link in the bio. If you guys want to check out the Hive Mind event, this is our 3rd annual event here in San Antonio. It's going to be a small time event, 30 people max. We'll probably get like 5 speakers or so. Not too heavy, but 2 days of straight education. We're going to record it, but we're not releasing it.
I can proudly say that the information you're going to hear in that room is not heard in very many rooms at all in the world. Yeah,
it's very specialized knowledge, to the point where our team is talking circles around business people here in San Antonio.
Our 20-year-old team members are out networking, and you have people canceling their poker game to pull them aside and be like, "Okay, we need to talk." It's funny.
Oh, so it's a cool experience, but those guys are gonna be dangerous. They're already dangerous. We appreciate you guys listening in. Please go like, share, subscribe, do all the things you know how to do. I ain't gotta ask, but I'm gonna ask anyway. We'll see you on the next episode. This is Anthony and Daniel.
Hive Mind, we're out.
We're out.
Thanks for watching this YouTube video. We hope you found value. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to watch more videos just like this one.